Hi, Chillie, the accessibility guy here with an accessibility report from Royal Caribbean Serenade of the Seas. I sailed on the Serenade of the Seas the last week in October from Tampa. It was the first time I'd cruised out of Tampa, so that was a plus. Because Serenade of the Seas is an older, smaller ship, I really wasn't counting on a whole lot in the way of accessibility. Boy, was I surprised. First of all, let's talk about embarkation. This was the first time that Royal Caribbean new policy on scoot around delivering the scooters to the terminal rather than to the cabin on the ship was in effect. Actually, I got out of my Uber and took 2 steps and sat down on the seat of my scooter. It was right there on the sidewalk where I got out of the Uber. And of course, the guys took my luggage, all the normal check-in procedures. I got my computer bag on the seat, on the floor underneath my feet. I put my little portable oxygen unit in the basket and took off for the check-in. And of course, they direct me, where you need to go, because that was the first time I'd been to Tampa. Took me in, went through security, straight through, no problems. Checked in with Royal Caribbean, answered the health questionnaire, make sure I felt okay and all that business. They directed me where to go. I was on the ship. From the time I got out of my Uber until I came up the gangway and onto Serenade of the Seas, it was 13 minutes, folks. That's impossible, but that's what it took to get checked in and on the ship. So I had tons of time through the first day one, to get a lot of my filming done that I do on every ship. I spread a lot of it out during the week. Anyway, it was terrific. So it was about 1:30 or so when the cabins were ready. I got to go down to my cabin for the first time. Now, I was on an inside cabin, but of course, handicapped accessible. The first thing I noticed that the door opened very easily and was nice and wide. I easily got in on the scooter without having to struggle at all. As a matter of fact, I did a quick little film of the cabin, the bathroom, and the room. The room itself for an inside cabin was huge. It had not only a bed, it had a couch, and a chair. Of course, the dresser that I use as a desk so I can work while I'm on the ship. But it was just immense. I went to dinner that night in the main dining room, as I generally do. There was absolutely no problem with them pulling a chair out from the table. So I could actually roll in to the table and just twist my seat around so that I'm sitting at the table, like, if you want to call yourselves normal people do. Those of us in the accessible or disability community, we consider ourselves normal, and you guys different, but that's neither here nor there. So it was no problem in the dining room, and subsequent dinners, they would see me coming and literally run to pull the chair out, so it would be easier for me. It was just extremely simple. As far as the ship itself, I did a couple shows. I visited every bar on the ship. Of course, the pool deck. The pool itself, like most cruise ships, I consider it inaccessible. To get into the pool, you have to be able to transition from your chair or scooter onto a bench that goes around the pool swing your legs over actually into the water, which is very shallow water. To get to the deep water, you got to be able to walk 6-8 feet to get into the deeper part of the pool. Same thing, all the hot tubs are up, 5, 6, 7 steps. So you've got to be able to do that. I did not ever see a lift chair on Serenade of the Seas. I was told they have one, but it's only taken out when there's a specific request. And the guy said, would you like me to get it for you? And I said, no, thank you, because I don't use them. I'm too big and fat and don't want to put out a scene. But anyway, they do have it. It just wasn't visible. So I can't absolutely guarantee that it was there because I didn't physically see it, but I'm trusting the guys that told me that. Everything else about the ship was, except for 2 things, was totally accessible. All of the public restrooms had automatic doors, inside and out. By that, I mean an automatic door to get in the bathroom with a little, push button on the outside, and an automatic door on the inside stall. So you don't struggle with anything. You go into the stall, let the door close. You can lock it if you need to, and you take care of business. And you punch a little button, and the door opens, and you go out of the stall. You can wash your hands. You go over to the door, hit another button. It opens the door to the outside, and you're back out and away. The casino had an adequate amount of space, even when it was busy at night, to get around and get to most machines. Of course, like any casino, sometimes the machines fill up with people, and you have to wait. But for the most part, a wheelchair or a scooter could get into a machine, and or if you can transition into a chair in front of a machine is possible. The same thing with the table games. Had I wanted to, I could have played blackjack. I could have played roulette. I could have shot craps. So I would rate it as a completely accessible casino. There were 2 things on the ship that I would give strikes to for Serenade of the Seas. And in my mind, after been on 20 plus ships this year, 20 plus cruises this year alone, these are so minor. One, the Vintage's wine bar. The main bar itself, the bar stools, and a number of couches and so forth in the lounge area is on the level for the deck. Which deck was it? Deck 7, I believe. Behind the bar, there was a 1 step down to get you to a lower level, which had stools on the backside of the bar and had other couches looking out in a nice panoramic window at the seascape going by. So there was a step down. There was no ramp anywhere. So that one little section on the backside of Vintage's bar, I couldn't get to. Most people in chairs or scooters couldn't get there either. So that one little place was inaccessible. Other than that, I went to Vintage's wine bar because some of my friends that I met at dinner did a lot of hanging out there. We had a terrific table at dinner. There was, I believe it was 10 of us, and they were so much fun. There was so much laughter. It was just great. They'd run us out of the dining room every night because they had to get ready for the next ship because we really enjoyed each other's company. But a couple of those guys hung out at Vintage's a lot. So I'd stop by there on occasion, maybe have a cocktail with them. So I just couldn't go on the backside of the bar. The other one, which, this one would be a little more serious, but on deck 12, there was only one elevator that accessed decks 12 and 14. Of I think it was 8 elevators on the ship, only one. Deck 12, see if I can remember what was on deck 12. The Vitality workout room, spa, gym, whatever you want to call it, was up there with, all the treadmills and the bicycles and all that stuff. That was up there. There was a jogging track, walking track around to the inside. You could look down a deck over the pool area. So this is the one just up above the main pool area. And of course, it was open around the entire ship, looking out at sea. There were a couple of the kids' areas, like ocean, whatever, for kids. And the children's pool was on this deck. And several things of the kids. But to get there, when you got off the elevator and kind of like a little vestibule, and there was a hallway that was about 10 feet long and a door. And you open up the door to get outside, you had to step over almost a full-size step. So that entire deck was inaccessible. So anybody in a wheelchair or a scooter, there's no way to get out there. Now, there was lots of ways to get out there with stairs from below or above, to come down from 14 to 12 as well, but not in the one elevator that accessed that floor. Those were the only 2 things on the whole ship. So I don't really count that as much of a strike. My opinion of the accessibility of Serenade of the Seas, it was terrific. The disembarkation procedures were just as easy as the embarkation procedures. So when I left the ship, I was through security and getting the passport checked and all that business. And I was out ready to get in my Uber, maybe 10 minutes. So hats off to Royal Caribbean and Serenade of the Seas. It was just a terrific, terrific ship. One of my better cruises of all time, even though it was older and smaller. Absolutely terrific. That's my accessibility report, folks. I can easily recommend this ship to any of you guys, whether you're mobility challenged, whether you're handicapped, whether you have any kind of disability. Highly recommend Serenade of the Seas. Great ship, great cruise. That's it for today. See you guys next time.
I regularly post videos on all facets of the travel and cruise industry. So if you'd like to keep up with the latest in cruise ships, ports of call, cruises themselves, Chillie chats, and travel and cruise industry news, just hit the little subscribe button in the lower right-hand corner. Hit the bell notification so you'll be notified when a new video is up or we go live. This video was produced by Chillie's Cruises.